Welcome into Seneca Tank. A hot topic within our industry is what features you can add to your next tank truck for product flushing. Today we're going to go over some of the available options that can be selected on your next Seneca Tank unit. First off, a flush tank. The flush tank is very straightforward. No adapters or nozzle changes are required. The downside is being limited to space available on the truck and flushing capacity in the tank itself. Next are product returns. Product returns are not limited by a flush tank's capacity and can flush directly back to any of the compartments on the truck. The downside of product returns is that they require removal of the nozzle spout and the adapters to use. Speaking of which, you can't remove the spout on auto nozzles, so you have to change out the entire nozzle to use. Regardless of what product flushing options you select, we aim to put as many sight glasses as possible to ensure you can increase awareness of what product you're delivering to your customers. Let's dive in with some more detail. All right, so we've come over the side of the truck here and you can see the flush tank. In the industry, a lot of folks call this a flush tank. Some people call it a sparge tank as well, but it can be mounted here. It can be mounted on the driver's side as well. It can also be mounted at the back. But you can see this one, you just have basically a gasoline style fill cap. It has a vent and then it has piping to the back. Okay, so for this example, you can see through the sight glass here that we have dyed fuel. And the next stop I want to make is cleared fuel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flush this out using the flush tank. So the key to using the flush tank is to understand how much product you have in the piping of the truck, in the pump, and the meter, and the hose itself. You can also just do some test runs, just using the sight glass and just see when the product changes and just look at your register and understand that. But at this point, we have dyed here. So again, I'm using that 20 gallons example. I'm gonna say there's 20 gallons in the system. I would go back to my register. I would type in a 20 gallon preset and I would put 20 gallons in this tank. And at that point, I should see my sight glass here go to clear and I can go make my next stop. So you're probably asking yourself, what do you do when the flush tank's full? Well, as you can see here, this is a dry brake style tank. This has 5 compartments. I got 5 compartment lines. And then I got this 6th line here, which you saw the pipe coming from the flush tank. So in my example, I put dyed diesel in the flush tank. Let's say I've come down the road and I'm at my next stop and now I'm ready to deliver dyed again. So I can just attach the jump hose here to the flush tank, and it's just going to take a second, but I'm going to start the pump and I'm going to suck the flush tank out and that'll empty it. And then as I'm ready to finish the rest of that delivery, I'll just take my line off and just connect back to the compartment I need. Okay, so the next product flushing component we're going to look at is called product returns. So this is for your trucks that have an air manifold like this. This is actually a distribution trailer, but it has the same dual bank air manifold that our tank trucks have. And you can see it's got this extra 1.5 inch port on the top. And basically what that allows us to do is to take the nozzle from the tank truck and to connect here and to push back into the compartment. This is your Philly Scully style ball valve nozzle, and it has a 1.5 inch cam on the end. So we're going to use the same example. I'm going to say that I have dyed diesel here and I want to switch to clear. So I'm going to go back to one of my dyed compartments. I'm going to attach here, and the same mentality. I'm just going to use a preset. I'm going to know how much is in my line. We'll say 20 gallons. I'm going to deliver until I look through the sight glass and it turns clear, or my preset ends and it's clear. At that point, my nozzle is loaded with clear. I've put the dyed back where it goes, in this case compartment 3. And then just to keep from making a mess, I have a little air valve here. We can introduce some air into the system right here, and it's kind of just push down and push back at the same time. While the air's on, I'm going to close my nozzle here and then shut the air off, and then I can take this off. So this is another example of a flush tank This one is on another one of our distribution trailers, but it's behind the cabinet here. And the difference between this one and the one I used in the other example is this one can be emptied using the air diverter valve. So on the bottom side of this tank, it has piping that goes right back to the pump. We'll say I'm delivering product A. I have product A in the flush tank. I can click this little button here. It says sparge tank. That'll open the diverter valve on the bottom of the tank, and it'll let product A go right into the flow with the rest of it. It'll empty out that tank. I can close this, and I'll just go back to completing my delivery, and now my flush tank is empty for next time I need to flush a product. Thanks for watching the video today. Hopefully this clears up some questions about flush tanks, manual versus air-controlled flush tanks, how they work, where you can put them on the truck, and then the product returns, using that manifold to flush right back into the compartment you had. If you have any other questions, feel free to call us, 515-262-5900. And as always, you can check us out at senecatank.com.